All right, guys. So our next topic takes us over to a galaxy far, far away. Our boy Alan Tudyk, who I love, man. If you haven't seen, um, I mean, let's get into this topic first before I start ranting about how much I love Alan Tudyk. What happened was Alan Tudyk was doing an interview, and Alan Tudyk he played K-2SO in Rogue One. So he was kind of even back when they announced doing this Andor show. Both him and Diego Luna came out on stage and kind of like made the announcement, right? They were there for the announcement of doing the Andor show, like in 2017, 2018, whenever that happened. And like Alan Tudyk even made the comment, like to Kathy Kennedy, he made it was more of a joke or anything, but he was like, yeah, I think we should call it K2 Fast, K2 Furious, and which was great. But it looks like we're not going to be getting K2 Fast, K2 Furious because Alan Tudyk says that he's not actually in season 1 of Andor. Um, so he goes on to say, I'm going to be in the show. It's just that the story that Tony Gilroy, who is the showrunner, or at least for the writer on it, is telling doesn't involve K2SO until later on. I can't be too specific, but I can definitely say that I'm not going to be in the first season. Which is disappointing in some ways because I don't know about everybody else out there, but I think Alan Tudyk's K-2SO was one of the best parts of Rogue One. I think it was the best. Rogue One could arguably be the best Disney Star Wars movie that we've had. I liked Force Awakens. The rest of the sequel trilogy, meh. And Solo was pretty good too, despite what everybody, despite not wanting it and nobody wanting a Han Solo movie without Harrison Ford. I thought the movie actually turned out to be pretty good. It was a pretty enjoyable film. That being said, again, K-2SO was one of my favorite parts about Rogue One, so it is kind of disappointing that he's not going to be in it. Oddly enough, though, just have to bring everyone's attention to it. If you go down to IMDb and you can't believe everything you see on IMDb because a lot of it gets added just by rumors and it's unconfirmed, right? But it is interesting that he actually is listed as being in the first episode of Andor. No other episodes, but in the first one, which is interesting because I made the assumption initially that um, maybe they are telling they're kind of going over the backstory of Cassian Andor, right? Like maybe they're going to because you have to understand. And one of the things I loved about Rogue One too, by the way, and like, is a lot of people out there have been kind of questioning, like, why are you making like a prequel of a prequel, like a spin-off prequel of a prequel, like and Andor being, Rogue One, which is a spin-off prequel of A New Hope, essentially, and then you're gonna make this Andor show, which is a spin-off prequel of a prequel, right? And it's like, why are you making this? And I would say to anybody who's kind of weary or kind of like they were with Solo, like, why are you doing this? The Andor character and like the time period it's in, and based on what we actually saw in Rogue One, and specifically with the cast and Andor character, if you remember the opening scene, this was like one of also my favorite like aspects of the movie was that you really got to see that the rebels had to get their hands dirty. Like it wasn't always, let's have a rebellion, everybody, and we're gonna go take down the empire and the bad guys, and we're gonna win because we're the good guys. No, like there was a gray area there. Like in the opening shot of Rogue One, or the opening scene rather, like Cassian Andor had to kill his informant so that they wouldn't be caught by Imperial troopers. And that's a side of, like, the rebels that we haven't really been able to see. Like, it hasn't been shown on screen anyway. Like, everything's kinda been, like, fun and rainbows with them. Like, we know they're the good guys. Yay! But the movie's called Star Wars, and like, you get your hands dirty when you're in a war. So, like, there's a lot of interesting and compelling things they could do if they live in that world a little bit. So my initial thoughts with this was that, they were going to explore the Cassian Andor character in a way that kind of like shows what took him from being whatever he was, a civilian prior, maybe, or and then joining the rebellion, right? Like see that evolution of the character, and then because obviously K2SO is an Imperial droid, right? So like he'd have to be part of the rebellion in order to eventually meet K-2SO. So it made sense to me that maybe Alan Tudyk and K-2SO wouldn't be in the show till maybe the final episode of this first season, I would guess. And then that's when they would encounter him. You know what I mean? And he would find him and then reprogram him, and then we'd be off on our merry way in the second season. I don't know. That's just kind of what I assumed, but again, it is odd that of all the episodes that he is listed being on, it's in the first one. So I don't know. It kind of throws my initial theory out the window when it says he's gonna be in episode 1, but I guess they could always have like some sort of setup scene, and then like maybe he does talk to K-2SO, then they flash back or something, and then they tell the story. Like, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see though. But I am excited for the Cassian Andor show, mainly just because, like I said, I really hope that they explore that gray area in the Republic or in the Rebellion, and really showcase that, like, this was like essentially dark times for everybody. It wasn't like all fun and games. Like, not that it was fun and games before, but you know what I mean? Like, they really didn't showcase any of that on screen, anything that like the rebels had to do to get like their hands dirty like that. So like I think it really lends itself to telling a compelling story, because I in some ways I do though agree that like I don't really care for prequels all that much, because you inevitably know where everything ends. Like I'd much rather them move forward and telling the stories, as opposed to just, again, that's one thing Star Wars I've complained about many times, is that they just like to live in this little tiny playground of time, right? Like I'd love for them to go back to the old republic, or move the story like years and years away, like tell new and interesting stories, and not everything has to be like about someone we know. This is a giant, massive galaxy, you know what I mean? A massive universe, and somehow every story that's told, you end up running into a character we already know, right? Like even Mandalorian starts, and it's this unknown character, and then, well, there's Ahsoka, there's Boba Fett. Like, okay, there's like, you know what I mean? It's very familiar. There's a lot of like, no matter where we've been going in Star Wars, somehow all our characters know each other, right? And then, not to mention Luke Skywalker too. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know about you, but when I go outside, I don't know everybody, right? And I don't live in a galaxy far, far away with interplanetary space travel and warp speed and like light speed. We can't do that. And when I go outside, 99% of the time, I do not run into somebody I know in my own town. You know what I mean? So it is kind of like annoying in that way. Like I kind of just wish they would give us something new. That's why I love the Old Republic, dude. The Old Republic's its own thing. It's set so far back in the past, you can do whatever the hell you want, there's no way anything really connects. You know what I mean? I love the Old Republic, man. They really need to get on that. Of all the things that they haven't announced, man, they need to get on the Old Republic. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about Alan Tudyk saying that he's not going to be in the first season of the Andor TV series. Do you think he's just being coy, and maybe IMDb is correct and he is actually in the first one? Gonna have to wait and see. Are you? Here's an interesting one. Are you even as interested in the show anymore if K-2SO is not going to be a part of it? Because like I said, not most people, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but I know a lot of people really love the K-2SO character. And the fact that, him and Diego Luna both came out on stage when the announcement happened at D23 or Star Wars Celebration. I can't remember which one it was at, but they were both there for the announcement. So everyone was very hyped that we were going to have both those characters back on screen, continuing their adventure, right? Well, I guess retelling the stuff that we didn't see in their adventure, because that wasn't a very happy ending for them in that movie. So, but yeah, are you even as interested in the show anymore in it of itself, with Alan Tudyk saying that he's not involved? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below.